Welcome back, guys. It's Jason with your Hopium free crypto update. Today we're looking at Matic and its quest for a new all-time high. Cardano looks like it has the first signs of a bottoming, and of course update Bitcoin and Ethereum. So before we smash into today's video, make sure you touch the like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, but if you have subscribed, make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well. All right, first up, there is a special going. There's a giveaway with Bybit. Link is in the top of the description. 4 lucky people will be getting $1,000 of ETH drawn on the 3rd of January. So if you want to be in that draw, check out the links down below for Bybit. When you sign up, going through their sign up process, the bonuses are also up to $4,100. So check that out. And there's also the chance to get that $1,000 of ETH. All right. So the first things we've been looking at is Bitcoin and also Ethereum. And then of course we have Matic screaming towards new all-time highs, which we'll check on the weekly chart as well. We'll be closing in less than 24 hours. But of course, Bitcoin is still on the downwards trajectory, and we have not put in a higher low just yet. We look like we want to try and put in a higher high at this point in time. So far the weekly swing low, 45,727. And the current is 45,496, so slightly lower. But if we can get above this 48,900 in the next couple of days, that is then going to give us the first higher weekly swing top that we have seen since November 10th. So that's a first good sign for the cogs to start turning in the bullish direction. Now, of course, we can be churned up and down here in the one-day chart. So looking at the market go from where we are now, come up, you can see it's breaking above this top. That's what I'm looking for. Then maybe come back and test and higher and lower. That's not the problem. But the best thing about this is that we have not traded below the 4th yet. Remember, we were talking about that level as being good support and needing to hold that support around 42,300. And then the price that I'm looking for is the top of the 4th bar. So it's 53,876. So call it 54,000. So that's the area that I was talking about in early December that I want to see the market get above to wipe out the first fear of the market. So this was the fearful bar. We get above that. Then you can start to think, all right, this market probably has some good legs to go. This is all the fear through here, extreme fear. We get above this part, then it just moves more towards the bullish side of the chart and the market sentiment. So Bitcoin at the moment is still doing its thing, sideways chop and down, but we might get those first signs of the reversal. Ethereum, on the other hand, has started to move up back towards its previous high level. This is on ETH BTC, so the strength is still there with Ethereum. But overall macro, I've been talking about this as being one of the strongest cryptos out there. I don't think there's too many people that can't see this now, that Ethereum is looking stronger than Bitcoin. But in a short-term chart, short-term views here, we did just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days down. And we haven't seen 6 days down since the previous period back in September. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. So we've just extended that period. So although I'm macro bullish on ETH, I still think there can be a slowdown for a reaccumulation period, because remember, we've gone on a pretty solid run from October into that high of December. So that's a really, really good run. That total from the low to the top is 51 bars. So it's okay if we rest for 10, 20, 30, 40 days. We probably don't want to see it too much longer than that. So ideally around 20 or so days, and then start to recover and put in a new high. So the best thing I think here, because we're trading at recent high levels, breaking that top in May, if we were to get a bit of a triangle and then the market just start to churn and work its way up again. We've already seen one big one. Let's see another one and then start to move higher again. So we want to see Ethereum strong, because then that brings in more strength to the rest of the altcoins. ETH USD is also looking pretty good, still holding above its up range 50%, so it's kind of moderate 50% level, because the macro 50% is back at 2,400. We haven't tried to test 34 again, and then my 50% level sitting here, my GAN 50% is at 3,284. So we're still above these levels. So basically that just means we're strong on the macros, weak on the micros, because on this downtrend, the 50% is at 41.69. So ideally from here at 4,000, get above the 4,200 mark and continue to consolidate. It's $200 higher than where we are, but at least that's it's above all of the 50% levels. So it's strength on strength on strength, and then start to accumulate. So although I'm macro bullish on ETH, I can still see that the short term needs some more work done to it. So looking at Matic and ADA based on what we're seeing with the macro views of Bitcoin and ETH, well, the first thing that we have to remember is Uniswap. So Uniswap is now going to deploy on Polygon, which of course is Matic. So that's basically the tweet here from Matic as well. This is a little while ago now, back on the 27th, so about 3 weeks. The Matic price has been doing pretty well. Remember, I've also been pretty bullish on this, but also called that we would get a little bit of a pullback. Just needed some time to rest. And although we've started to move up from here, we were looking at signs of dead cat bounces, a few good days up and then a move back to the downside. It doesn't have to be anything major where the market goes into a massive bear, but sometimes it just needs that resting period. And at the moment, the volume isn't as high as what it was breaking out, but it's still not too bad compared to the previous section of the market at these low levels. So you can see the volume through this period as the market moved up. So there's more activity coming in. It's still above a lot of these areas in the past. But again, I'd want to see this go higher and then start to break at least the closing prices of 240. So at the moment it's above the 215, which is the 50%. To my members in Patreon and Premium, which you can find a link to in the description down below, I was looking at buying it here at $1.95. So I picked some up at $1.95. Reason being is it was breaking out against the Bitcoin value. So I definitely want to see my crypto strong against BTC and also strong against ETH, because like we just saw, Ethereum is one of the strongest and Bitcoin is still holding up reasonably well during this bearish sentiment of the market. So Matic against ETH is coming towards new highs at this point. The safe entry for me would be above these previous levels that it had a dead cat bounce on. So you had the drop, the bounce, another drop and a bounce, and that level is around 0.00066, but the breakout was at around 0.0005, so just above these highs here. So this is still, Matic ETH is also, doesn't have much volume coming into it, so I still need to see that. But going back to Matic USD, based on the weekly chart, so we're just looking at it in a macro sense, because it can start to throw new investors out. One day you see it up 10%, next day you see it down 15%, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Well, let's zoom out to a big picture here, and I've got this on white bars just to take away the noise of the reds and the greens. We are looking towards our third highest weekly close, and this is potentially above the 50% level of $2.15. So what we're looking at is these little horizontal lines on the right. And so that on the 29th of November was the highest weekly close in its history. And then last week, we also saw another higher close. And currently, we're a long way from those points. So even though on the micro, it can look like we need a bit of time, we need to come back, consolidate, price needs to drop. On the macro, for the last 3 weeks, not just 3 hours or 3 days or whatever, 3 minutes, the macro view, this is still the strongest it has ever been on those weekly closes. And we got some high volume and we ended up get that extra, just that little bit of a push to a higher close. So all these little subtle things is what I like about Matic at this point. And what I didn't like about Matic when it was trading through late May into around early November. So this was the first signs that it was looking all right. We had the higher low, and then the following started to break out. And this is where I was posting to Patreon and to premium members that, like I had here, safe entry above these levels and get out if it falls below in terms of a trade, because the market was in this bearish sentiment. So Matic has continued to perform. It's above its 50% level, 4,300 Satoshis. Even if this also does its little wind up wedge above these levels, that's a good sign. So all I'm thinking is maybe it does this, which is what I'd rather see happen, and start to wind up, play around the 50% and then get going, so that it has more time to continue to consolidate at these levels and give us bigger and better prices in the future. We don't need them in this exact moment. We want bigger prices later, not small prices sooner. Matic ETH, as I said, looks good. Now onto ADA. And ADA looking to bottom, or at least give us a first sign that this wants to give us a slightly higher price than the $20s and $30s that it's been trading at. So I'm using the same swings here. We're just looking down the chart. Let's get my draw. So here, there's the low and the high and the low and the high and the next low, and there's the next low. So we've got lower highs, lower lows in terms of a Gann swing. Now we are attempting to get above the 135 level, and then the next level I'm looking for is around 145, and then of course the best thing we could see is consolidation above 160. Above 160 is the 50% level and the scare bar, like we just overcome all of the price action that happened on the 4th of December. 4th of December is really important. That's a Wyckoff change of behavior bar there, and also potentially selling climax as the market trends down and sideways. It has not broken the 4th, which is a good sign for now. Let's hope that ADA can go from 130 to 160. In the meantime, if you do want to stake your ADA, and if you're buying this as a dollar cost averaging plan at this point, obviously there's the staking pools you can stake your ADA with, get your 4-5% per annum. TIA link is down below, gives you the instructions on how to stake your ADA with the TIA staking pool. So check that out. And while you're there, make sure you are watching your charts. So check that out, and also check these charts of ADA BTC. Because ADA BTC is holding up all right. It's at 2,700 Satoshis. Remember, we've had this section here. We're just looking for this to start to base out. So 2,000 to 2,500 Satoshis would be ideal for ADA to base out and give us some sort of relief rally, some sort of bounce and close above 3,300 Satoshis. So that's the major 50% of the current bull market. So getting above that is the next stage. So we've covered that plenty of times before. At the moment, it's pretty much just an update on ADA because the bleed has started to slow very early at this stage. Volume is dropping off, so that's not a good sign, but at least we're starting to get some higher highs at this point in the swings on ADA BTC, and it's attempting to do it. We'll wait and see. We're only a few cents off it at this point on the USD chart as well. So that's the first signs there for some signs of a low. So ADA's one of the DCAs. Maybe it's a staking. Matic also looks pretty good at this point. I hope we see a wind up on Matic. ETH, of course, one of the strongest up here at these higher levels. BTC churning sideways, and we definitely want to see above 49,000. The next target is 54,000, and then consolidation to move again. That's not a problem if we stay down here. It just means a longer time for consolidating before we can shoot up to new all-time highs. If you are new, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're returning, hit that like button and bell notification icon. And of course, check out the link down below for Bybit. 4 of you could win. It's only for this channel and my brother's channel, Michael Pizzino. 4 of you, $1,000 of ETH drawn on the 3rd of January. Check out the link down below. I'll see you at the next video. Till then, have more fun to get more done.